collapse. And the FCTA to partner Dark Communications PLC to develop Media City in Abuja. And this is Abuja Report on AIT. I am Uyebimpe Wealth. Welcome. Now, a heavy downpour has destroyed the roof of the Kubo International Bus Terminal along the Abuja-Kefi Expressway, with several people injured and scores of vehicles damaged. The rain, which began at about 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday, came with very strong winds blown off the roof of the Kubo International Bus Terminal, dropping the wreckage on the expressway, therefore making it impossible for road users to access the Abuja city center from the neighboring Nasarawa state.
And I don't know where the heavy rain came from, but it fell on my car, like it fell on me. I was injured, but thank God for life.
Time of filing this report, some commuters and motorists were seen making efforts to clear the road. Some of the stranded motorists and commuters appealed to the authorities to quickly intervene and clear the debris blocking both lanes of the road, Abuja-Kefi Expressway, to enable the traffic to move smoothly. Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has ordered the arrest of the property owner following last week's building collapse in Jikwe. He also directed the immediate takeover of the property by the government. The minister gave the directive during an on-the-spot assessment of the collapse site, where he observed that the structure was being developed without approval from the relevant authorities, a clear violation of the city's building regulations. He further stated that the government will engage with the community to determine appropriate use for the land, which has now been revoked. According to the FCT minister, non-compliance with established regulations remain a major concern. He stressed that agencies such as the FCT Development Control Department and other relevant bodies must ensure strict enforcement to standards and apply sanctions where violations occur. No lives were lost in the building collapse in Jikwe. However, 7 persons sustained injuries and were taken to the hospital for treatment, with some already discharged.
Following last Friday's building collapse in Jikwe, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike arrived at the scene, where he was briefed by emergency officials. After receiving the briefing, the minister ordered the immediate arrest of the property owner and directed that the building be taken over by the government.
First of all, since there was no formal approval and nobody was able to know the quality of material they were using for process of supervision, the government will immediately take over this plot of land and then from the community what they will want government to build for them, for other public purpose. Certainly, they will arrest him and be prosecuted because contravention does not allow just we taking over the land, but whoever that is involved will be prosecuted immediately.
He emphasized that non-compliance with building regulations remains a serious concern, urging the FCT Development Control Department and other relevant bodies to strictly enforce standards and sanction violators.
It's not like for the development control to continue to do their work, that anywhere you see building going on without approval, do not hesitate. If they see that they still control, you come and bring the building down in order to save life. Nobody can know. And then let's prosecute those who have refused to listen, to obey the simple process that you must follow.
No lives were lost in the incident. However, 7 people sustained injuries and were taken to hospital for treatment, with some already discharged. Chukwebuka Obodo, AIT News, Abuja.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has expressed strong interest in partnering with Dark Communications on an ambitious plan to develop a world-class media city that will position Abuja as a hub for the creative and a digital economy. The proposal, presented by the chairman of the media outfit, Raymond Dokpesi Jr., during a high-level visit, outlines a transformative vision that includes production studios, residential and hospitality infrastructure, educational facilities, and global standard media technology designed to attract international investors, boost local content production, and create jobs for Nigerians.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, is hosting a high-level delegation from Dar Communications PLC, led by its chairman, Raymond Dokpesi Jr. The media group is seeking to partner with the FCT administration and secure the minister's support for the development of the Dar Media City, an initiative aimed at transforming the media landscape in Abuja while boosting the city's economy.
Part of our vision for the development of that space is to create an internationally recognized media city, which would encompass and involve accommodations, residences, hotels, hospitalities, shopping experiences, studios for production, and for the advancement of the creative economy. Your Excellency, government participation through the FCTA's policy leadership and catalytic investments can decisively de-risk delivery, crowd in private capital, and multiply impact. By endorsing the Dar Media City as a priority creative economy asset, the administration can signal commitment to the creative and visitor economies, accelerating investor confidence and lowering cost of capital, stimulate tourism, diaspora visitation, expanding service sector GDP, the nighttime economy, and municipal revenues.
The FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, described the proposal as an ambitious project, noting that his administration is willing to support initiatives that drive development and investment in the capital city.
When you look at this thing, if you look at it, you're afraid how to go on to produce it. Even it's a very ambitious thing, but I'm not wrong with being ambitious, with commitment, you can achieve it. You don't look at the way big it is and that may scare you, I think that you have what it takes. This will be the first of its kind in Nigeria if it materializes. So I want us to explore how best we can go about it while we have the opportunity to be in office now. This office is a temporary place, it's not a permanent office. But while you are here, you're able to give support that will promote the image and the city called the Federal Capital Territory.
The project is expected to be located at the Dar Communications Complex on Baduma Hill in Asokoro district of Abuja. It is said to feature international media services, hospitality facilities, and is expected to attract significant foreign direct investment to the FCT. Chukwebuka Obodo, AIT News, Abuja.
And this is Abuja Report on AIT, reaching you live from Akpaduma Hill Studios in Asokoro. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Heavy downpour destroys roof of Kugbo International Bus Terminal in Abuja. Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike orders arrest of property owner from Jikwe over Jikwe building collapse. And FCTA to partner Dar Communications PLC to develop Media City in Abuja. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Abuja Report on AIT. Now, there is an urgent need to strengthen access to justice for women and girls as a foundation for sustainable national development. This was the consensus by stakeholders in gender equality and women empowerment at a post-event engagement following Commission on the Status of Women's 70th session convened by UN Women in New York.
There are renewed calls for the elimination of discriminatory legal frameworks and the reaffirmation of fundamental human rights principles. Stakeholders also highlighted the importance of domesticating the resolutions of CSW 70 within the Federal Capital Territory and across Nigeria.
The global conversation in New York, therefore, is clear. The time for incremental change has passed, and here now we must pass a new constitutional order of impacting community lived realities. Our first priority is to provide the legal and structural base necessary to protect, propel women, children, and policies for them within the FCT. This historic declaration reflects our firm belief that strengthening families is fundamental to empowering women, protecting children, and fostering cohesive communities.
However, beyond policies and promises lies a deeper challenge: implementation. Participants at the post-conference discussion stressed that limiting access to justice based on gender undermines national progress and deepens inequality.
The Commission reaffirms the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, as well as the commitments to gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls.
Demand for your own seats. Demand for your rights. You have to be there. If you are not there, they will never know what you want. But if you are there, you will tell them what you want.
The post-CSW 70 dialogue, themed Rights, Justice and Action for All Women and Girls, served as a platform to review key outcomes from the global conference and explore strategies for local implementation. Unekwojo Atta, AIT News, Abuja.
Now, the nationwide strike by resident doctors is taking a toll on health care delivery, with services affected at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Lokoja, North Central Nigeria.
There is growing anxiety among patients and their relatives at the Federal Teaching Hospital, Lokoja, as the strike by resident doctors continue to disrupt medical services. AIT News observed reduced activities across the hospital, with only skeletal staffs on ground to attend to patients in critical units. The doctors say the strike was unavoidable due to unresolved demands, leading to a withdrawal of their services.
The federal government met with NAD leadership and had an agreement in which they started payment of what we call PAT, the Professional Allowance Table. They started paying our members, which we have received about 2 months of the salary, and we are even awaiting arrears. All of a sudden, we got information that the money has been removed from the proposed April salary.
The president of the Association of Resident Doctors at the facility, Dr. Obari Mary, says efforts are underway to resolve the dispute as the union engages hospital management in dialogue.
There has been a lot of ongoing negotiation in order to make sure to see if there is a way to ensure that the strike they don't start. The strike actually started 12 a.m. Some centers gave the grace of starting 9 a.m. so that there will be proper handling over of patients, because in as much that we are fighting for our welfare, we are still concerned about patient welfare.
With no immediate resolution in sight, concerns are rising that a prolonged strike could further strain the healthcare system and worsen the plight of patients relying on public hospitals. Tehumba Akaya, AIT News, Lokoja.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohamed Ali Patti, has commenced strategic negotiations with European aerospace giant Airbus as part of the federal government broader plan to accelerate the attainment of universal health coverage in Nigeria within a recorded time frame. On the sideline of the discussion, the minister inspected an Airbus emergency care helicopter at a France government-supported air ambulance facility in Lyon, gaining first-hand insight into advanced emergency medical evacuation systems. The initiative, according to the minister, aligns with ongoing health sector reforms by the federal government to strengthen emergency preparedness, reduce mortality rates, and expand equitable access to health care services across the country.
In line with the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, we're expanding Nigeria's public health infrastructure, but also private sector infrastructure for medical care, including emergencies. And the National Emergency Medical Services and Ambulances Scheme is being revamped with on-the-ground ambulances for our cities, as well as the Rural Emergency Medical Ambulances Scheme, RESMAT. This is taking our health sector one step further building a health system that will serve Nigerians, that will be getting closer to the standards that anyone can expect anywhere in the world. It's a long journey. We're starting it. We will take our time to build it block by block in line with the President's own vision for a Nigeria that works for everyone.
Professor Pate reaffirmed Nigeria's government's commitment to fast-tracking reforms, leveraging global partnerships to achieve universal health coverage for all Nigerians. The engagement, which took place in France, is focused on developing a nationwide ground-to-air emergency health management system aimed at improving rapid response and access to critical care, particularly in underserved and hard-to-reach areas. The Niger State Commissioner for Homeland Security, Maurice Magaji, has confirmed terrorist attack on 3 communities of Lantan, Tunga, and Bagna in Arena ward of Shiro local government area. According to Magaji, the state has received credible information and is working with security forces. Meanwhile, sources in the affected communities say that the terrorists launched the attack at about 10:30 a.m. Tuesday, April 7. It was gathered that the attack, which began in Bagana, left 3 people dead and several others injured before spreading into neighboring villages. The people are therefore calling on the government to come to their rescue, especially as farming season is about to begin. The Shiro local government is one of the areas in Niger State bedeviled by the activities of terrorists. A coalition of pro-democracy advocates has come in defense of the Independent National Electoral Commission, condemning what it described as coordinated attacks and threats against the institution. The group emphasized that INEC, as an independent electoral body, operates based on credible and established procedures with a track record of institutional integrity.
We will continue to support INEC, will continue to solidarize with INEC, and will continue to protect that institution. It is based on credibility. It is based on the reputation. It is based on the record, the track record of Professor Josh Amubiton, that he has been appointed into one of the most important institutions in our democratic setting, INEC, an independent institution. Professor Josh Amubiton and other leadership of INEC went through strict scrutiny, both security-wise and otherwise, before the confirmation of their appointment.
While raising concerns about the broader implications, the coalition warned that continued attack on INEC could erode trust in the Commission's decisions and electoral outcomes. Now, a federal high court in Abuja has sentenced several defendants linked to the Boko Haram terrorist group in separate terrorism-related cases, handing down prison terms ranging from 10 to 20 years. The convictions are part of an ongoing mass trial initiated by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi-San on behalf of the federal government.
Nigeria has continued to grapple with terrorism, particularly from Boko Haram and its splinter groups. In response, the government established special court arrangements within the Federal High Court system to expedite the trial of terrorism suspects. In one of the cases, Justice Binta Yako sentenced Hamatu Modu, who was found guilty of supplying food items and information to terrorists, to a total of 40 years imprisonment on a 4-count charge. The court, however, ordered that the sentences run concurrently, meaning he will serve 10 years. Similarly, Isa Ali, who was arraigned on 2-count charge for providing clothes and logistics to terrorists, was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment after pleading guilty to 1 count. The prosecution withdrew the other charge, which the court struck out. Justice Yanko ordered that Ali's sentence take effect from the date of his arrest and granted a request by the defense counsel for his rehabilitation and de-radicalization, noting that he had already spent 3 years in custody. In a separate case, one Shehu Bukar, who faced a 5-count charge including alleged membership of Boko Haram, participating in terrorist activities, and withholding information was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. Although Bukar pleaded not guilty to most of the charges, he admitted to providing support through cattle rustling and selling livestock to the group. The court found him guilty based on the evidence presented. After looking through the witness statement, which was presented as evidence before the court, Justice Binta Yako described the offense as gruesome, despite the defendant being a first-time offender. The court also ordered his rehabilitation and de-radicalization.
I've invited members of the Nigerian Bar Association just so then the human rights community, they are also here just to show that everything is is undergoing due process. Nobody will be convicted unless the law has satisfied the provisions of the law.
The two suspects paying what they call zakat to Boko Haram. Now, it is considered when you pay money or when you pay farm produce products to Boko Haram, by way of appeasing them, it is considered to be part of terrorism financing.
Meanwhile, about 10 courtrooms of the Federal High Court in Abuja are currently handling terrorism-related cases simultaneously, with over 200 cases expected to be determined in the ongoing mass trial. Chibuzo Okezie, AIT News, Abuja.
And that's Abuja Report on AIT. I am Oyebimpe Wealth. Thanks for staying with us.